Hello. Hello from Cookbook Divas. This is our Let's Chat about Little House on the Prairie. We're going to look through the Little House cookbook at some point today, but I have a huge stack of books that are related to Little House on the Prairie that I want to show you. I am waiting for our Amazon live friends to join us also. Gonna hang in there. All right, we're going live on Amazon. I'm closing some browser tabs because live video is stressing out my computer. All right, we are here. I'm Carrie with Cookbook Divas. I am a huge fan of Little House on the Prairie. I read it as a little girl. I started when I was age 7. I watched the TV show, which I cannot remember what time of night it came on. If anybody knows, please let me know. Or what day of the week it came on. I watched it with my mom, but my little brother and my dad were not interested, so they didn't watch with us. I have a huge amount of Little House on the Prairie books that I own that I wanted to show you, so that way you know what's inside. I have not colored in my Little House coloring book yet, and I'd like to do that. And maybe when I get a little more comfy and a little bit more audience joining me here on Amazon Live, I might have a color and tea chat someday. And this, I'm actually not good at coloring. So this will be a little challenging for me, but I was a little bit disappointed with this coloring book because a lot of them are just signs and quotes, and I would like to color a bigger picture, and this one's kind of dark. It's Garth Williams' beautiful original illustration, and I will color this one, but I'd like to color this, and it's too little, and I don't care about the saying, but for those of you that like it, okay. I probably wouldn't color this picture of the same picture of a pig that's being repeated. I'm not a fan of this one. Farmer Boy. I would color this one. They all settled down cozily by the big stove in the dining room wall. Here's the wagon. And by the way, so I'm 52 years old, I don't mind saying. My great-grandmother was in one of the last wagon trains going west, which was as late as like 1912 or something like that. Wow. And she came to Walla Walla, Washington. Anyway, here's the cabin. So I have not colored any of these yet. I keep thinking it's winter, it's raining outside. It actually snowed a tiny bit at my house near Seattle today. So I should be doing a cozy little night by the fire coloring, and I will. Oh, I remember this picture of, can you remember what was happening in this? Okay. Pa's playing his fiddle that he's famous for. I have 3 viewers here. Are you fans of Little House on the Prairie? You're joining us on Amazon Live. Hello. So I'm going to move on to the next book because the coloring book is a little bit disappointing, but I'm going to try it out. And if I do color some of these pages, next time I go live and chatting about Laura and Little House, I'll show you what I did. So I have a Little House sticker book, and I believe it's out of print. I'm not sure if it's on here. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Okay, so I played with it. You can re-stick the stickers. So whenever my little niece would come over, we would play with this, or I took it to a restaurant, and we obviously have lost most of the stickers because it was very well loved. So you have a kitchen scene that you could decorate with the stickers. It's the little cabin in the big woods of Wisconsin. Hey, one of my stickers survived. Let's check it out. I think is that Laura? I think that's Laura. Oh, yeah. Oh, these are my stickers. Okay, and Mary. I didn't lose as many stickers as I thought. Yay. And then the third page is a different view of the cabin, and some of my stickers are backwards here. There's a book. Anyway, it was super fun to play with. I do think it's out of print. It was by Harper Festival, a division of HarperCollins. Let's see if I can find... No, I'll do that one later. My book of Little House paper dolls. So cute. I played with those too. I'm not embarrassed to say. It includes 2 giant pull-out scenes, and I just lost someone's hat. Okay. I played with this with my niece, but I also played with it by myself too, because why not? So the dolls are all going to fall out. Okay. So you pull out this scene, and then you can play with the dolls and arrange them next to it. And I'm so glad that this company published these paper dolls. I wish more children's literature companies would do that. Mary isn't dressed. She didn't know she was going to be on the air on the internet. So you play with the cabin. On the back side, you can play with the outside. I did not take this to restaurant because the pieces fall out. And look at this. Okay, I'll get Mary dressed and show you. Okay, there she is. Okay, and they have little stands so the doll can stand up, and lots of clothing. Let's see if I can show you. Here's somebody who was carrying flowers in their little dress. We had a lot of fun with this. And I don't have an uncut one, and I kind of wish I had for collector reasons. But we cut it and played with it and enjoyed it, and that's kind of what life is about, right? I know I have this one. I'm going to focus on My Little House Cookbook, if I can find it. Did I put it in here? Oh, no! I'm not sure I did. There it is. I think. My Little House Cookbook. This is for little kids. It's part of the My First Little House books series. I think it's out of print too. So on the back it says, long, long ago, a little girl named Laura Ingalls traveled across America in a covered wagon with her pa, her ma, her sisters Mary and Carrie, and their good old bulldog, Jack. And the little house was always filled with the good smells of ma's cooking, and Laura and Mary often helped to make many of the delicious foods enjoyed by pioneer families so long ago. Here are some of their favorite recipes ready for you to prepare in your own little house. And I see that we have some people joining us on Amazon Live. Hello. Please drop me a comment about your love of Little House on the Prairie and where you're watching from. Welcome. So here's the My Little House Cookbook. It is super cute. The first recipe is pancakes. And they have little pictures. And then the shapes. Do you remember the little, Ma would make little shaped cakes for the girls to eat? Breakfast sausage balls. I'm not sure that's mentioned in the books. Let me know if it is. I don't remember it, but it does sound like something pioneer families would eat. Creamy oatmeal. Okay, I don't need a recipe to make oatmeal, but if a kid was using this cookbook to cook, they would definitely need it. Strawberry jam. So you see there's no illustrations by Garth Williams in this book, but whoever did these illustrations did a really good job of feeling the spirit of the books and kind of following along the cheerful way. Buttermilk cornbread. Ooh. How about, toppings for little cakes, maple icing. Oops. And an index at the back because there's so many recipes. There's like 7. A lemonade recipe. Okay, we know how to make lemonade, but it's nice to have that here. So that's My Little House Cookbook. It might be out of print, but the fact that I could click it on Amazon, I think that's a third-party seller's listing for it. Okay. Moving on. Okay, sticker book. Have you seen this series of My Little House books or My First Little House books? Let's see if I can find one. Nope. Do I have it listed here? Somewhere in the... Oh, here we go. Sugar Snow is one of them, just for example. So they have Christmas in the Big Woods, County Fair, Dance at Grandpa's, The Deer in the Wood, A Farmer Boy Birthday, Going to Town, Going West, A Little House Birthday, A Little Prairie House, Summertime in the Big Woods, of course, Prairie Day, Sugar Snow, Winter Days in the Big Woods, and Winter on the Farm, which stars Almanzo, or Almanzo, whichever way you want to say it. So it's illustrated by Renee Groff, who very carefully kept to the aesthetic that the original illustrator did. It's HarperCollins Publishers, of course, because they hold their publishing rights to the Little House books. Illustrations for the My First Little House books are inspired by the work of Garth Williams with his permission, which we gratefully acknowledge. And they're really cute. I can't show you the whole book, but I wanted you to see some of the very sweet pictures in these. It's a good way to get kids that are too little to jump into the Little House on the Prairie books or to hold still to listen to a whole chapter. You can get them started and get them hooked on it. So I would start reading this to kids when they're 2 and 3. And by the time they're 5 or 6, you can read Little House in the Big Woods to them. And then they'll be hooked, and then they can read the next several books on their own. And as a little girl, I read one a year. So I was kind of growing up with Laura because now my reading was getting better, and I could read about her as a 10-year-old and then as a 12-year-old, and I just got hooked. So sweet, sweet pictures. I don't think I have any more of those. And here's a couple books that are not listed on my Amazon stream. I just found it when I was looking for everything. Did you know that Laura Ingalls Wilder had a book of fairy poems? Now, of course, this is not the original illustration. This is a reprint, but it says a never before published collection. Introduced and compiled by Stephen W. Hines, illustrated by Richard Hull. Let's take a quick look before we move on to the cookbooks, which you're here for. This would be a cute little gift book. The illustrations are kind of weird. They're cute. Kind of odd. Oh, for my daughter, Carrie. Well, my name's Carrie, but I'm not this person's daughter, but that's nice. Laura Ingalls Wilder, her story. And they're still talking about her. Okay. Fairies still appear to those with seeing eyes. This is actually a story. It's adapted from an essay that she wrote in 1916. So it's not a poem. Okay, here comes the poems. But a sunbeam entered softly and touched her as she lay, whispering that 'twas morning and fairies must away. So you get the drift. Okay. Shall we get... Oh, I'm not ready for cookbooks yet because I have a couple more things to show you. I don't have this in my Amazon list. This is Becoming Laura Ingalls Wilder, the woman behind the legend. If you're interested in biographies, this is available on Amazon, but I forgot to add it in the stream, and that actually sort of pisses off Amazon when I do that. Sorry. John E. Miller is the author. Let's check out. Let's peek inside really quick. I'll take a look at the chapters. Okay, chapter 1, Pioneer Girl, 1867 to 1879. And then chapter 2 is Schoolgirl and Courting Days. And then the joys and sorrows of early married life. That happens to all of us, right? Hopefully just the joy. In the Land of the Big Red Apple. Building a Writing Career covers 1911 to 23. Turning to Autobiography, 1923 to 32. Becoming a Celebrated Author in the 30s. Completing the series, 37 to 43. And basking in the glow of her readers' affection in the 40s and 50s. So, interesting biography. I can tell that I haven't read it yet because I don't remember reading it, and the book is in really good condition for having not been read. All right. Let's start talking about some cookbooks, although I want to do Inside Laura's Little House. Do I have this on here? And hello, those of you that just joined us on Amazon Live. I just lost my Amazon Live window. There I am. Nope, I don't have it here. Okay. This is Inside Laura's Little House, The Little House on the Prairie Treasury by Carolyn Strom Collins and Christina Weiss Erickson. Illustrations by Garth Williams and Kathy Hawley. It says, here is a book for anyone who has ever loved Laura Ingalls Wilder's Little House on the Prairie. Inside its pages, you'll find fascinating details about frontier life, as well as crafts, recipes, and songs from Laura's beloved novel. Come celebrate Laura's life on the prairie with this glorious keepsake volume. So this is meant for kids. I'd love to hear from some of the people that are watching right now. HarperCollins Publishers, as always. Table of Contents. Chapter 1, Laura's World on the Prairie, and then Going West, A House on the Prairie, Prairie Day, Prairie Animals, Pa Goes to Town, Christmas on the Prairie, Indian Camp, and Chapter 9 is Little House on the Prairie, the book, and beyond. And I was hoping people would chat with me about if you watched the show when you were little. So they start off biography, the author, and photos of her family and the houses she lived in. It's pretty cool. Laura's Times. And there's a bookmark ribbon. 1870, the Ingalls family, what they're doing. I like the little illustrations that they that they included. It kind of breaks up the text and makes it easier for children with shorter attention spans to read it. The illustrations are awesome. Going West. Let's jump to the Christmas chapter, if I can find it. Oh, they included a song. Oh, and a recipe. Here we go. This is sort of a cookbook. Breakfast bacon. As though you need a recipe to know how to cook it, but that's okay. Why the Pioneers Went West, and a map of the territories. And I think I saw a music thing I wanted to show you. Ma's Pancakes, some more recipes. Mary and Laura's Nightcaps, a sewing instructions. Oh, Susanna, if you wanted to play it, there's the musical notations. A House on the Prairie. I wanted to get to Christmas. More recipes. Ma's Jackrabbit Stew. Now, I'm a vegetarian. I will not be eating a jackrabbit, but I would make dumplings. Prairie Day. Ma and Laura's sun-dried blackberries. Ma's sweet potato plants. Prairie Animals Cornbread. How to make cowboy bandanas. Here's Christmas traditions. Okay. Ma, Mr. Edwards' Christmas sweet potatoes. That actually sounds good. And I love the cute illustrations. Mary and Laura's Christmas paper dolls with a pattern that you can trace. Jingle bells that you can sing. Indian camp, which we would say Native American camp nowadays. A prairie recipe for pemmican. The quote is, "Then Pa picked up a smoke-blackened forked stick, and he said that the pot had hung from a stick laid across the top of 2 upright forked sticks." Chapter 14. Okay. And it's made out of beef jerky and a whole bunch of other stuff, and you take it with you when you're traveling. Here's a Prairie Activities beaded necklace. So that gives you a little preview of Inside Laura's Little House. All right, I was digging through my cookbooks. Here we go. The Laura Ingalls Wilder Country Cookbook. Where did it go? Oh, that was Inside Laura's Little House. All right, if you're watching on Amazon, you can click on that book to check it out. All right. I also forgot to find my copy of The World of Little House on the Prairie. A very, very interesting book. Here's the cookbook we're actually going to look through. The Laura Ingalls Wilder Country Cookbook. It says, "Over the fence to the farmhouse, with laughter and repartee gay, it's almost time to be eating again, and we're rather too far away. There's chicken and dumplings for dinner, with salad and vegetables fine, and fruits just fresh from the orchard. Oh, who wouldn't love to dine? Over the fence to the farmhouse, we're afraid they will not wait, and with chicken and dumplings for dinner, 'twould never do to be late." Laura Ingalls Wilder. I guess she liked to make up poems. Okay, let's take a look inside. HarperCollins is the publisher, of course. This quote says, "Just come and visit Rocky Ridge. Please grant us our request. We'll give you all a jolly time. Welcome the coming, speed the parting guest." Laura Ingalls Wilder. Okay. Oh, my camera's having trouble focusing on that. Sorry. Okay. Table of contents. Wow, there's a lot in here. Main dishes, vegetable and side dishes, breads and rolls, desserts, drinks, and snacks, including iced coffee for 50 people. Wow. Introduction. I'll read it later. All right. The kitchen at Rocky Ridge Farmhouse. Main dishes. Meatloaf Supreme, farmhouse stew, chilled meatloaf. So here's Meatloaf Supreme. And I love that they're just putting pictures of her belongings and her houses. Farmhouse stew. That sounds good. Here's the Rocky Ridge Farmhouse. I wish that picture was a little bigger. Almanzo's favorite Swiss steak. Now, there's some debate about the pronunciation of Almanzo. Some people say Almanzo, like on the TV series. Some people say Almanzo. They both correct each other. I listened to some videos at the official Rocky Ridge Farm, like Miss Laura Ingalls Wilder Museum. They say Almanzo, but you can say it Almanzo because it's Manny. Who cares how we pronounce it? It's okay. We don't need to be correcting people. Sweet potato biscuits, ham loaf with raisin sauce, chicken loaf, but no picture, onion pie, and here's Laura. I feel like I'm calling her by the first name without permission, but she's dead. She can't give me permission, and I feel close to her because I read her books. Vegetable and side dishes, scalloped corn Kansas, Missouri succotash, glazed beets, baked lettuce, pilaf, hush puppies, potato pancakes, Lima's Louisiana, Lima puree soup. Would you eat that? I'm thinking I would not. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Dandelion soup. Scalloped corn Kansas sounds good. And she uses cans of whole kernel corn, which I have in the house. Baked lettuce. Why wouldn't you just have a salad? Okay, let me see what's going on. Baked lettuce is an elegant addition to a special dinner. It can be prepared and popped into the oven just before dinner. Really? The ingredients are 6 heads of Boston lettuce and water to cover it, seasoned with salt, and then melted butter, white pepper, nutmeg, and fine dry breadcrumbs. And you soak the heads of lettuce in salted water for hours. And you remove the core and run water through the lettuce to clean it, and you should secure the shape of the head by tying it with string or a rubber band. And then you preheat the oven to 350, and you bring a pot of water to simmer, and you add the lettuce and simmer 2 minutes, remove it and drain thoroughly. This is a lot of work. Then you remove the string and arrange the lettuce in a buttered 4-cup baking dish, and then you spoon the butter, salt, and pepper, and nutmeg over each head and sprinkle it with crumbs, and you bake it for 15 minutes or until the crumbs are browned. I can't wait to hear what you think of that. Sounds like a lot of work. Now, hush puppies are a lot of work, but there's a big payoff because they taste really good. Potato pancakes. Here's a young Rose at the cave with her donkey called Spookendike. Rose is Laura's daughter. I never heard of that donkey's name. That would be a great trivia question. Lima's Louisiana involved lima beans, as you can guess, sausage links, minced onion, granulated sugar, mace seasoning, salt, poultry seasoning, milk, butter, and green pepper. I'm not going to read the recipe for the lima puree soup because I don't want to throw up. Breads and rolls, whole wheat bread, miracle rolls, brioche, French bread, poppy seed crescents, orange nut bread, orange rolls, lemon spice puffs, raisin tea ring. And this is bread cooling on the cook stove in the Rocky Ridge kitchen. I'm going to skip ahead. Oh, are we in desserts? Yes, we're in desserts. Lemon frosting recipe. And here's Laura's rocking chair on the farmhouse porch. Chocolate frosting, Lydia's one-egg cake with chocolate frosting, applesauce cake. There's Laura and Almanzo Wilder in 1943. Hello. Hi, Jonathan. You're staying up a little late tonight. Rose's strawberry pie. I guess Texas is 2 hours away from Seattle. Is it 8:30 there or 9:30? That's not late. Apple tart, puff paste, an apple slump, and iced coffee for $50. Wow. You can make this really festive by topping it with whipped cream dusted with a little cinnamon sugar. Well, yeah, sure. Yeah. And a hot chocolate recipe and the perfection of lemonade. So that is the Laura Ingalls Wilder Country Cookbook. It's very educational and the recipes sound good, but I'm not going to make that baked lettuce recipe. I'm not sure about you, but I would not. Okay. Got a couple more cookbooks. I'm going to show you this one, and I did buy it on Amazon a while ago, and I couldn't see inside it, so I'll show you what it is, but I can't say I'm a big fan. It looks like it's self-published, which means it didn't go through like a copy editor or a review process or an editor that said, hey, this isn't really a good idea. It's by Lauren Perry. Food they ate at the Little House on the Prairie. It's very thin. It's glossy. Here's what she writes on the back. Do you want to have a trip down memory lane? Are you a nature lover? If yes, this cookbook is particularly for you. Perseverance and determination of Pa are the two hallmarks of the inspiring series by Laura Ingalls, The Little House. That's bad grammar and bad writing, but okay. The struggle of the family is heart-touching and motivating. I think this author sounds like English is not their first language. The family dynamics of a common peasant family is what makes the series most attractive. Well, they're not a peasant family, they're a pioneer family. The simple and organic food of the Ingalls inspired us a lot, and we plan to present it in the form of this special cookbook. There are no modern ingredients and cooking techniques. The recipes are simple and a constant reminder of the good old days. Here's a sneak peek of all the classic treats you'll get. Besides these, this cookbook contains the magic of the traditional rural recipes. That doesn't sound like we would write that in English. Oh well. Let's check it out. The cover's pretty. I mean, it worked. It got me to buy it. Table of contents, very simple. Appetizers, starters, and snacks. Breakfasts. Desserts. And a vanity cake recipe, which is good. Introduction. Away from the hustle bustle of urban life, the life of the Ingalls family is very close to nature. The food they eat is all natural and organic, true. After working on modern cuisines and endless modern recipes, we really wanted a refreshing dose of simple and old-fashioned recipes. Bounties of nature are everywhere in the little house and so in this cookbook. Plan a vacation somewhere close to mountains, forests, or fields, and use recipes from the book to refresh yourself to the fullest. Okay, recipe for creamed corn. There's a photo, cooking time. Old-fashioned homemade eggnog, which they did not mention in the Little House books. Oh, they did. I stand corrected. Almanzo drank eggnog from a bucket to prevent it from spilling. Okay, I thought it was cream, but okay. Ginger water. Little House-inspired corn salad. Cornbread stuffing inspired by Laura Ingalls. Breakfast potatoes. Don't really need a recipe for that. We know how to make it. Scrambled eggs with fresh corn. Boy, this author really likes corn. Baked beans inspired by the Little House. And cranberry and brown sugar with mint glazed country-style ham. Laura's favorite roast chicken. Bean and beef casserole. Farmer boy ice cream. Homemade apple turnover. You get the drift. So this isn't very fabulous. The photography is okay. The paper is very cheaply printed. Very unofficial. I'd pass. I probably wouldn't buy it, but the recipes will be good to make. I'm not a fan of the writing. It was very, very amateurish. Maybe this was made by a teenager, in which case, good job. So let's get on to the good cookbooks that we actually like. How about that for a plan? All right, I have two to show you. So this one came out first, same author, Barbara Walker, and this is the new edition. I don't like the color orange, but it's a beautiful cover. I'm just wondering why it's orange, because I just love this because there's an actual Garth Williams illustration. Frontier Foods from Laura Ingalls Wilder's Classic Stories, with illustrations by Garth Williams. And on the back has the list of books by Laura Ingalls Wilder. The back of this one has Mary churning butter, the classic illustration that's just so sweet. I really like it. Okay, so the Little House Cookbook. We will take a peek at this, and I don't think I have this one. Oh, there's another version that I couldn't find too. People keep making this cookbook and reprinting it, but I don't have that one to show you because I couldn't find it. It's somewhere in my library. Okay, so I'll just focus on the orange one, but we'll look through this old one. Harper and Row was the publishers of this one before they were HarperCollins. And this is a little bit older. I think I treated myself to this as a Christmas present a couple years ago. Harper and Row Publishers. Okay, which edition is this? Text copyright 1979. This is a first edition. That was a nice gift. All right, chapters. Food in the Little Houses, The Cook's Domain, Staples from the Country Store, Foods from the Woods, Wilds, and Waters, Foods from Tilled Fields, Foods from Gardens and Orchards, Foods from the Barnyard, and Thirst Quenchers and Treats. So we'll probably look through the other book because it actually has color photos. But you learn a lot about food history all the way through this book. It's amazing. They're teaching us about cornmeal and drippings then and now, because some of the ingredients for these recipes have changed. For example, before the Pure Food and Drugs Act of 1906, merchant and customer were vulnerable. There was no law against stretching flour with plaster, stretching cornmeal by adding sawdust, and making pepper last longer by adding gypsum. The coffee might easily contain dyed navy beans. The raisins might be part pebbles, which could break your teeth back in a time when they didn't have a lot of dentists. And the lard might be floured. So, anyway, stewed jackrabbit and dumplings using a Garth Williams illustration. Fried fish, roasted wild turkey with cornbread stuffing, blueberry pudding. Remember, that must be Almanzo cooking and coming across a bear. I'm trying to find a good picture for you, but we'll probably have to switch to the other version of the cookbook. Swedish crackers. I have never made my own crackers. Have you? Okay. Lettuce leaves with vinegar and sugar. What is it with baking lettuce, people? I don't understand this. Okay. How good does this sound? Ripe tomatoes with sugar and cream. I really miss summertime fresh tomatoes. Apple pie recipe. Yeah, let's look through the other book that actually has photos. So I'll put away my vintage first edition from 71. Love it. And I'll go for the newer edition, which came out. Ooh, look how pretty that is. It starts off like that. Little House Cookbook. Barbara M. Walker. This is the newly revised and updated Harper and imprint of HarperCollins. This came out 2018. Okay. And we're starting off with a pie picture. And table of contents are the same as the last book. Food in the Little Houses, The Cook's Domain, Staples from the Country Store, etc., etc., etc. So let's find some good pictures to check out before I sign off and go have dinner and watch some TV. Cornbread. Yum. The Cook's Domain. I love the chapter separators. They all have nice illustrations and something from the books. And they still have the Garth Williams illustrations. They're just printed in orange ink. Okay. Johnny Cake recipe. There's Johnny Cake. And of course, the part of the book, lots of food history. Crackling cornbread. And I wouldn't be able to make crackling cornbread because I'm vegetarian. And so I don't have crackling sitting around the house. Ooh, codfish balls is a recipe. I don't know what this is. Let me go backwards. Is that porridge? Oh, oyster soup. Okay. Oyster soup. There's codfish balls, fried fish recipe again, roasted wild turkey with cornbread stuffing. I love this picture from the original books. A tidy home. I do not have a tidy home. I could, but I'm busy and lazy. Roast turkey. Sauce for blueberry pudding. Look at that. Ooh, nice. And stewed dried fruit, jams, jellies, and preserves then and now. We can learn some more food history. Jams, jellies. I don't make those. I'm too busy and too lazy. Husk tomato preserves is a recipe. Strawberry jam. Bread making then and now. Things that are different. Light bread. Light biscuits. Ooh, I like biscuits. Sourdough biscuits. Here's a wheat bread of some kind. Here's a rye and Injun is what they call it. Can't call it that nowadays. Ooh, do I see molasses cookies? Buckwheat pancakes is a recipe. Creamed carrots. Would you eat creamed carrots? I guess I would. Lettuce leaves with vinegar and sugar. What is this? Is this apple turnovers? Oh, so that is the modern edition of the Little House Cookbook. I love it. I've not made anything out of it except for the cornbread because I'm too busy looking through cookbooks to make stuff out of them, and I go to lots of restaurants. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Little House on the Prairie look through of several books. Check them out, see what you think, and I'm so glad you watched. You can see more of our shows at amazon.com/live cookbook divas, and I cover lots and lots of cookbooks. I'm going to do some library hauls tomorrow on Monday, and you can find us on your favorite social media platform as long as that platform isn't TikTok. Bye. And stream.